Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH Rebirth of Emperor Yang episode number 233 based on novel. So let's start. Liu Jin's arrival was really unexpected to Xiao Yan. Unexpectedly, this figure in the North Sea would come all the way to Fengcheng to meet them. However, when Xiao Yan heard that the latter was actually coming to join Xiao Men, his doubts were much lighter. As for other forces and strong ones, they had more or less friction with Beihuang Hall in the past. This time, they either chose to join Xiao Men or brought gifts to congratulate. After many times, dozens of forces came. Of course, only a few people finally chose to join Xiao Men. In a month, although the power of Xiao Men has barely taken shape, there is still a big gap from the real establishment and rise. Fortunately, with the leadership of a small medical fairy, the whole Fengcheng has been taken care of. Many buildings have been built rapidly, including Xiaomen's door rules and some iconic badges. It can be seen everywhere in Fengcheng today. Even Fang Tonghui and Liu Jin secretly admire the little doctor's action. Although the other party is only a female, or even a 3-star fighting emperor, it is extremely aggressive and domineering. Even when they look at him several times, they will unconsciously feel a chill rising in their hearts. It's hard to imagine that the other party is just a 3-star fighting emperor. Soon, 3 months have passed. In these 3 months, although most of the forces that came to Fengcheng treated them with courtesy, there are also many troublemakers. In addition to a few small forces led by the powerful fighting emperor who were easily defeated by small doctors and immortals, there are also 3 forces with strong chemical sources who came to Fengcheng one after another. The purpose of these 3 forces is not only to suppress Xiao Men, but also to threaten Xiao Yan and ask him to hand over Fang Tonghui and Liu Cheng. They all say that they are the remnant of Beihuang Hall and are determined not to stay, but they are also coldly refused by Xiao Yan to his face. The powerful man in the dignified source environment was sneered at by a 3-star fighting emperor. The man was immediately angry, but at the critical moment, he was easily pushed back by Cai who came out later with a strong momentum. After 3 times in a row, the reputation of the little medical immortal in Fengcheng also increased rapidly. Many people admired the vice-sect leader's determination and courage, including Liu Jin and others. However, at this time, after March, the 3 forces that left one after another somehow joined hands and returned to Fengcheng again, hoping to be shamed. Over Fengcheng, at this moment, the 2 sides are facing each other. On one side, the leader is a woman. Behind him stands another girl and several middle-aged men. The strongest one is the girl behind the leader, a strong man in the middle of Huayuan. On the other hand, the team is led by 3 people respectively. The breadth of the 3 people led by the team has reached the level of Huayuanjing. One of the strongest is also a midterm existence of Huayuanjing, but such a team is easy enough to crush several people opposite. Ha ha ha, little girl, I know you have some abilities, but you are only one in the middle of Huayuan territory. Now we have 3 strong people in Huayuan territory. We don't want to fight with you. Last time, we handed over the remaining evils of Beihuang Hall and dissolved Xiao Men. Today, the 3 of us can let you go. Otherwise, Fengcheng will be your funeral, the land of the body. Among the 3 people opposite, a thin old man smiled strangely and stared at the gloomy little medical fairy opposite. At the same time, a strong momentum spread out from his body and oppressed the little medical fairy. Almost at the same time, the colorful lotus steps standing behind the little doctor moved slightly. At the same time, a momentum that was not inferior to the former swept along with it and resisted the old man opposite. At this time, the other 2 people on the opposite side also stepped forward. The strong momentum and pressure immediately united and attacked Sia together. In an instant, Sia's momentum and pressure broke through. His whole body trembled and withdrew a few steps back. His indifferent face frowned and gnawed his teeth, just wanted to come forward again, but he was stopped by the little doctor. Then, the little doctor looked up at the 3 people opposite and said, "Sorry, I also said that the North Wasteland Hall has been destroyed. They are now the people of our Xiao Men, not the remaining evils of the North Wasteland Hall. As for asking us to dissolve the Xiao Men, I'm sorry. We'd better wait until our sect leader comes back. Oh, sect leader? You mean the boy named Xiao Yan? It seems that he hasn't appeared since the end of the war 3 months ago. In my opinion, he won't be badly hurt in the war. Now he's hiding somewhere to heal slowly. Hearing the speech, the other one of the three grinned and sneered with disdain. They didn't know what the war was. Therefore, they naturally wouldn't believe Xiao Yang's legendary strength of killing the Lord of the North Wasteland Hall. At the moment, it seems that the latter is not here, so they can't help sneering. Ha ha. You came all the way here, but you don't want to care about Xiao's health. I'm really moved. Thank you for your concern. Xiao is all right. However, at this time, a clear laughter suddenly sounded over Fengcheng. As soon as they heard the sound, the faces of Xiao Yishen and others suddenly showed surprise. At the same time, the breath held in their chest was finally relieved. Almost at the same time that the faces of the three strong people in the source environment changed, a dark shadow appeared in front of the three of them. Without saying more, they hit the old man with a fist. The terrible force broke the void in an instant. The terrible breath of destruction quickly blocked the staggered arms in front of the old man while he regained his mind. Bang! With a bang mixed with bone fracture, the old man's body suddenly flew backward uncontrollably, and then it fell hard on the city below. Then, when the other two strong men in the early stage of Huyuan territory were about to attack, two fists fell on their faces without warning, and their faces became distorted. Then, his body, like the former, fell into the city uncontrollably. Get out. If you dare to step into Fengcheng again, you will be killed next time. With the spitting out of this cold voice, thunder clouds suddenly turned over the sky of Fengcheng. The three people in the city below were suddenly shocked. Xiao Yang's fist was not enough to seriously hurt them, but it was enough to hurt their muscles and bones. When the three people returned to their senses and saw the sudden rolling thunderclouds in the sky, they were even more shocked. One word could make the world turn pale. These powers, it was really shocking. In associating with the terrible strength just shown by Xiao Yangang, the anger in the hearts of the three people went out in an instant. They didn't care much. They forced the blood surging inside their bodies and wanted to leave. Stop. However, at this time, Xiao Yang, who was high above the sky, suddenly shouted at the three people. The bodies of the three people ate at the same time, and a sense of panic surged into their hearts. Could it be that this guy suddenly repented and wanted to kill them on the spot? You smashed the facilities in my city. Now you want to leave like this? As soon as the tone sank, the look on the three faces was also stunned. Immediately, the muscles in the corners of the eyes could not help a violent twitch. The fundamental reason for the destruction of the buildings in the city was not the former. Now he, the wounded, actually blamed them in turn. After listening to this, he wanted them to hand over the compensation. You. However, just when one of the three was about to speak, an extremely powerful momentum came suddenly between heaven and earth. The cold killing was intended to immediately surround the hearts of the three. The words that had not been spit out in his mouth were blocked between his lips and teeth. After the good film carving, the three finally couldn't accept Xiao Yang's momentum and coercion in the sky. Finally, they were unwilling to bite their teeth, waved down more than 100 spirit stones, and then left in a hurry. Seeing that the three strong people in the source environment were forced to flee under the force of Xiao Yang, they lost face and left compensation. A burst of cheers suddenly rang out in the city below. Most people who had a strange attitude towards the sect leader in the sky couldn't help showing a hot color and admiring eyes on their faces at the moment. They all fell on Xiao Yang. How many people can do this feat of shaking back the three strong people in the source environment with their own strength? Up to now, some people who don't believe in Xiao Men finally know something about this emerging force and respect the young sect leader. Who doesn't want to be young and promising, and who doesn't want to be arrogant and frivolous? But how many people can really do this in the world? Being young and promising needs capital, and arrogant and frivolous needs capital more. But everyone present knows that they don't have that ability, but even so, they have joined Xiaomen now, become Xiaomen's people, and see people in the future. Even if you can't boast for yourself, you can proudly say that you are a member of the Xiaomen. Among the Xiaomen, there is a Xiaoyan who is their leader. Looking at the people cheering loudly in the city below, Xiao Yishen and Liu Jin and others behind him couldn't help showing surprise on their faces. Looking at Xiao Yang again, they seemed to understand something in their hearts. When the three left, Xiao Yang turned around and had no time to chat. With a flash of his body, he already appeared over the stone chamber, above it, facing the center of the thundercloud. This thundercloud is not what Xiao Yang shouted out in a word, but Dan Lei, which is derived from the 5th level pill Juyuan pill. In 3 months, after several failures, Xiao Yang finally completed the refining of Juyuan pill, and the number is as many as 5. The significance of the 5 Juyuan pills is that they can create 5 strong people in the source environment. It is not difficult to imagine the strength of such a team. Facing Dan Lei with more and more thick breath in the sky, Xiao Yang thought, and the North King immediately flew out of the ring, like an iron tower, standing proudly in the void. In the confused eyes of the people in the city, he was facing Dan Lei and rushed straight up without taboo. At the same time, the thunder clouds rolled, Dan Lei came into the world, and the thunder roared like an angry dragon roaring. He hit the North King hard. Boom. Then, the two touched each other, but the shocking thunder burst in an instant. The North King broke the thunder with a pair of iron and steel. Wow. At the same time, the body of the North King rushed into the sky again. Below, Xiao Yang looked at the North King whose body had disappeared into the thunder cloud. His eyes were filled with some sigh, but he didn't know whether his strength could be improved after the North King swallowed all these Dan Lei. If the cultivation of the Northern King can make a breakthrough and be promoted to the source territory, it will definitely be a great help for Xiao Yang. When he returns to the western regions and faces the falling leaves in the sky, Xiao Yang will have a greater confidence and be able to defeat them. As for those people in the Ghost Hall, Rao can only see them at that time based on Xiao Yang's understanding. Thanks to you these months. Several people stood in the void. Xiao Yang looked at the rolling thunder clouds in the sky. He immediately looked at the little doctor and smiled. Hearing the speech, the latter smiled and sighed helplessly. I know you're not good at handling these affairs, and my current cultivation can't help you, so I can only help you do what I can. In fact, this is also good. In the past, when I walked with you, you always stood in front of me. Now, I can keep you behind and protect you from the wind and rain. If anyone dares to move you, I will kill anyone. Xiao Yang pursed his lips and smiled. Although his words were understated, the chilly chill contained in them still surprised people. He looked straight at Liu Jin's heart behind him. In this regard, the little doctor grinned and revealed 2 lovely dimples. There was an inexplicable warmth and happiness in her beautiful eyes. With the passage of time, half an hour later, Bei Wang, who rushed into the thunderclouds, finally ran out again. Soon afterwards, the originally fierce Dan Lei dispersed, but Bei Wang returned to Xiao Yang in high spirits. Looking at the North King who has almost no change in front of him, Xiao Yang can't help frowning. It seems that with the improvement of his strength, the 5th level Dan Lei has no great effect on the improvement of the North King's strength. If he wants to promote the North King's cultivation to the source territory, Xiao Yang may have to find another way. In the conference hall of Xiao Men, Xiao Yang, the leader of Xiao Men, is sitting on the main seat at the moment, and below is a row of small medical immortals and others. When they sat down, their eyes fell on Xiao Yang. Now the latter appears again. Naturally, all measures in Fengcheng are up to the latter. After sitting down, Xiao Yixian explained Xiao Men's development in these 3 months to Xiao Yang. The latter nodded again and again when he heard the speech. I have to say that Xiao Yang admired Xiao Men's action. In just 3 months, there were nearly 20 people in Xiao Men, including 7 high-ranking Do Di. Although the accomplishments of the rest are not as good as those of the 7, they should not be underestimated. Of course, the 7 high-level fighting emperors did not include Liu Jin, who was present at this time. That is to say, if the 3 9-star fighting emperors were added up, there would be as many as 10 strong high-level fighting emperors in Xiaomen today. In addition, Xiao Yang and Xia, who are strong in Huiyuan territory, and Bei Wang, whose strength is comparable to that in the later stage of Huiyuan territory. In a sense, today's Xiaomen is more powerful than the former Beihuang Hall. Sect Leader. In March, the deputy sect leader led us to build Fengcheng together and solicited everywhere. Up to now, all the shops in Fengcheng have been under the command of Xiao Men. Only some of the strong still remain free and remain in Fengcheng. These are also the credit of the deputy sect leader. The deputy sect leader refused the strong enemy 4 times and saved the lives of our 2 families. The second subordinate. For this reason, I am very grateful to the sect leader and deputy sect leader for their kindness to our 2 families. Now, the 2 of us have also brought all our family members into the city and settled in our original other garden. With the strong fighting emperor of our 2 families, there are nearly 30 strong fighting emperor among our Xiao Men, and there are countless semi-strong emperor. From now on, our 2 families and Xiao Men will live or die together. Just after Xiao Yang's words with the little medical fairy fell, Fang Tonghui and Liu Cheng spoke again. The words in their mouth praised and admired the little medical fairy. When they mentioned themselves, their words sounded loyal and could bring their families into the city, which was undoubtedly proving their relationship with Xiao Yang. Of course, Xiao Yang's heart still sneers at this. Although this sounds comfortable, you can know if you think about it. The reason why they bring their families into the city is that they are afraid that they will be killed by strong enemies if they continue to stay in their original place. If they are brought into Fengcheng, there is a shield of Xiao Men, their families will undoubtedly be much safer. Oh, well, I'm very relieved that you 2 can learn from your loyalty. I hope you can make persistent efforts in the future. For this, I have prepared a gift for the 3 present. In the dark eyes, the pure light flickered. Xiao Yang smiled, turned his back, took out a jade bottle from the ring, poured out 3 round pills the size of longan, and said with a smile. This is the pill, Juyuan pill, which I have refined in the past 3 months. As soon as these words came out, the eyes of the 3 people present suddenly burst into golden light. 3 pairs of fiery eyes fell on the 3 pills above Xiao Yang's palm, and felt the surging power contained in the pills. The 3 people had no doubt that the 3 pills were indeed Juyuan pills. Juyuan pill, this is a magical pill that can ensure their cultivation to break through the source environment. However, just when Fang Tonghui and Liu Cheng held hot eyes on the pill, Liu Jin suddenly frowned suspiciously. He clearly remembered that Xiao Yang seemed to be a 5th level array mage. How did he suddenly become a 5th level herbalist again? Noticing Liu Jinhu's suspicious eyes, Xiao Yang narrowed his eyes, smiled lightly, put away the pill in his hand, saw the lost look on the 3 faces, and said, "To tell you the truth, the reason why I established Xiao Men is that I have a great enemy in the western regions. I'm afraid it's difficult to compete with him if I'm alone. Therefore, I hope to rely on the power of power. You will be the biggest reliance for me to return to the western regions." Hearing Xiao Yang's words, the 3 present immediately frowned. Unexpectedly, Xiao Yang, who is in the northern region, would be involved with the forces in the western region. Moreover, listening to him, it seems that he wants the 3 of them to go to the western region with him. With this in mind, the 3 immediately frowned. If so, after they joined Xiao Men, they would not be famous in the northern regions, but would have to leave their hometown together. Sect leader, our families have lived in the northern regions for generations. Now we join Xiao Men in order to settle down. But if you take us to the western regions, it will be difficult for us to come back. Once the family property is destroyed, we will become homeless dogs. I'm afraid we can't go to the western regions, otherwise. Don't worry, don't you all go. After all, Xiao Men headquarters is still here. I can't let it go. I only need you 3 when I return to the western regions this time. As for the family forces behind you, I can rest assured to stay in the northern regions. It's not too late for you to return as soon as things over there are over. Xiao Yang guessed the thoughts in the hearts of the 3 people and said his thoughts before his words fell. When he saw that the 3 people still had a trace of hesitation, he continued to speak and said, "After this event is completed, as you just saw, there are 3 Juyuan pills, 1 for each person. In addition, I will add another Huaji pill. This is also your reward for going to the western regions with me this time." As soon as Xiao Yang said this, the 3 people's faces suddenly burst into a happy light. If so, all the results would be different. I didn't expect to get not only Juyuan pill, but also an additional Huaji pill. They can't miss this good thing. The sect leader is serious. As people of Xiao Men, it's reasonable for us to go through fire and water for Xiao Men. How can we get paid for doing things? However, if these pills can be used as a reward for our war achievements, it may also be of great benefit to the future growth of Xiao Men. Hearing the speech, Xiao Yang couldn't help sneering. Although the three guys openly shouted, they still didn't treat themselves as the people of Xiao family. I'm afraid they just wanted to find a suitable reason to take the pill. In that case, let's go back and prepare first, and then wait 3 months. After March, we will return to the western regions. As the story of the 3 strong people in the source territory retreated by the main shock of Xiaomen spread in the northern wasteland, soon, an invisible storm swept through the northern wasteland rapidly. The name of Xiao Yang also spread among all forces in the northern wasteland. Within 10 days, almost everyone in the whole northern wasteland didn't know the name of Xiao Yang, especially when they heard that the leader of Xiaomen was just a young man. A feeling of shock and curiosity mixed with each other rose in everyone's mind. 10 days later, the strong from all sides began to move towards Fengcheng. At the moment, Fengcheng has changed greatly. The magnificent buildings stand in Fengcheng like towering mountains, which makes the whole Fengcheng look more than several times larger than before. Even its original land occupation has been expanded by nearly 1/3. Nowadays, not only Fengcheng, but also places thousands of miles away from Fengcheng, have become the domain of Xiaomen. In the past, several spiritual veins under the command of Beihuang Hall have also been under the command of Xiaomen. In just 10 days after Xiao Yang left the customs, the overall details of Xiaomen have been improved several levels one after another. In addition, with the arrival of various forces, many of them have joined the Xiaomen. However, in half a month, the number of strong fighters in the Xiaomen alone has nearly doubled compared with half a month ago, which surprised Liu Jin and others. In addition, relying on the large amount of resources accumulated in the North Wasteland Hall in the past, Xiao Yang paid for pills and attracted a large number of strong fighters to join. Among the current Xiaomen, in addition to 50 strong fighters, there are also 20 who belong to the category of employment. These people, including most of the people who joined Xiaomen, until now, they all came for the reward given by Xiao Yang, which Xiao Yang knew very well. With the rapid growth of Xiaomen's power, 2 months have passed unconsciously. During this process, Xiao Yang, the leader of Xiaomen, disappeared again. The crazy absorption has made Xiaomen's sphere of influence more and more huge, and the number of strong ones has attracted many forces in the northern wilderness. However, even so, these forces still take an attitude of observation. After all, just as Xiao Yang thought, the current Xiaomen is like a rapidly expanding balloon, and those people inside Xiaomen, it's like all kinds of mixed gases. Once one of them detonates suddenly, the whole balloon will explode instantly. At that time, the whole Xiaomen will break without attack. The rapid growth will certainly bring all kinds of criticism to Xiaomen. However, Xiao Yang still ignores it. Naturally, he will not be able to bear the consequences. Today's Xiaomen, although seemingly huge, in fact, has reached the verge of collapse. Xiaomen, the conference hall, where Xiaoyan and Xiaoi Shensaya sit. At this moment, the little doctor is frowning, and Mai's eyes are staring at Xiao Yang, full of worry. She naturally sees the recent situation of Xiaomen clearly. Although the strong in Xiaomen have increased a lot, on the whole, Xiaomen is still wandering and scattering sand. Many things cannot be controlled by even her vice-sect leader. As the biggest reliance of Xiaomen, Xiao Yang is still calm as usual. For those outsiders, they accept all of them impolitely, but they never seem to think of the consequences later. Xiao Yang, a lot of things have happened in Xiaomen recently. There has been some friction between several new high-ranking fighting emperors, Fang Tonghui and Liu Cheng. Recently, the city is also in chaos. Even Kia can't completely suppress those people. How many of us are fighting against the emperor? Without caring about those problems, Xiao Yang asked this with a smile. Hearing the speech, the little doctor was stunned and hesitated. Then he spoke again and said, "Originally there were 73, but recently, because of accidents in the city, 16 strong fighting emperors have left, including 11 high-level fighting emperors alone. Now there are 57 strong fighting emperors in Xiaomen, plus those hired. 57, almost. Xiao Yang smiled. He naturally saw the situation in the city clearly. However, this scene did not worry him. Xiao Men's growth momentum was too fast. He understood very well. Therefore, someone must be eliminated from this process. In fact, those who can stay are often strong people. Being able to exist in chaos will certainly be the best among people, which is exactly what Xiao Yang needs. What he needs is not the so-called fighting emperor, but a strong man. As long as he is strong enough, his temperament is not very important. As for managing the order in the city, it is even simpler. Buzz. Then, just after Xiao Yang's words fell, a powerful momentum swept out of Xiao Yang's body, like an invisible storm, sweeping the whole Fengcheng, and everyone's faces in the city changed suddenly. Soon, when everyone in the city looked up, a figure dressed in black also appeared in the sky of Fengcheng. Then, two beautiful shadows also followed and stood beside the man in black. In the city below, countless people looked at the black-robed figure in the sky with a shocked look, and their hearts were extremely shocked. Needless to say, the sudden black-robed man must be Xiao Yang, the leader of Xiao Gate. Although most people in the city have heard the name of sect leader Xiao, not many people have really seen the latter. At this moment, the people in the city know what it is to be a dragon among people and a leader among leaders. Is this the sect leader? Unexpectedly, he looks younger than what is said by the outside world. Young, cultivation has reached the middle stage of Huayuan territory. Tut tut, it's amazing. Hey, from now on, there is another giant in the northern region. The sect leader is in charge. See if those forces dare to be arrogant. The appearance of Xiao Yang immediately caused a commotion in the city. In the originally chaotic city, everyone at the moment also turned their attention to Xiao Yang. He, you must have heard that we Xiao men are going to lead our troops to the western regions to recruit forces in the western regions. Since everyone here can stay, we must agree with Xiaoman's plan. In that case, I promise you that after the success, we will reward all participants with 1 Huaji pill. In addition, we will reward others based on merit external pill. As soon as they heard Huaji pill, the faces of all the duty strong men present showed a fiery expression. Huaji pill is a pill that can improve the cultivation of duty strong men. How could they not be excited? To be honest, several of all the duty strong men present joined Xiao men not for Huaji pill and had no interests. How can these guys who add blood to the head of the knife all day willingly join a force? Now, Xiao Yang immediately mentioned the interest of these guys as soon as he mentioned Huaji pill. The sect leader can rest assured that as long as we are here, we can drown him even if we have so many strong fighters. Ha ha ha. Suddenly, there was a roar of laughter in the city. Xiao Yang didn't care about it, smiled and said, I'm very glad that you can have this confidence. However, this trip to the western regions is not a children's play. Therefore, I have to tell you carefully that I must select some strong ones from you and go to the western regions with me. As for others, I hope you can continue to guard the northern regions. I can give you the foundation of Xiao men you're out. At the moment when the voice fell, Xiao Yang did not wait for the people in the city to respond. Xiao Yang was moved. The strong momentum suddenly fell into the city. The terrible momentum made the people bend down in an instant. The whole face turned red in an instant, and even the faces of many people showed a pale color. In the face of the imposing force and pressure of a strong person with chemical origin and environment, it is difficult for them to compete with it alone. Everyone, from now on, all of you who can resist my momentum and step into the void will join my queue to the western regions. On the contrary, you will garrison Fengcheng. How to choose depends on you. As soon as he said this, everyone in the city was shocked. Xiao Yang actually asked them to resist the momentum and pressure of the strong in the source territory of the latter, and asked them to step on the void. It's too impractical. Of course, as encouragement, within 10 minutes from now on, all those who can resist my momentum and set foot on the void can get a 5th order pill. Xiao Yang's words were like giving a shot of chicken blood to the people present. For a moment, all the blood in the human body suppressed by Xiao Yang's momentum in the city was boiling. All of them were scarlet eyes, crazy mobilized the fighting spirit in the body, and the muscles of the whole body were raised high. They wanted to try to straighten their bodies under Xiao Yang's momentum. At this moment, the attraction of the fifth order pill was perfectly displayed. All the people in the city, whether they are the strong fighting emperor, the half-emperor, or the weak cultivation, hope to try to break through Xiao Yang's momentum, but unfortunately, from the beginning to the end, no one has really stood up and paced in the sky. What they are facing, after all, is a strong man in the middle of Huiyuan territory. The irreparable gap between the fighting emperor and Huiyuan territory makes them unable to break through it no matter how hard they try. On the contrary, Xiao Yang in the sky looks at several places in the crowd below with a look of expectation in his eyes. I said, "When did you become so generous? It seems that you have only refined 5 Juyuan pills in total." At this time, the little medical fairy on one side suddenly opened his mouth with a joking face. He didn't believe Xiao Yang could get the fifth order pill. "I'm afraid this is only used to frame the fighting emperors in the city below." "Ha ha, you forgot. Although I don't have other pills, I collected those things in the warehouse of Beihuang Hall before. There are also some 5-level pills in it. Except that a small part of the ingredients are okay, most of them can only be used as pills. It's better to give them than keep them." Xiao Yang smiled cunningly. Although those 5 rank pills were barely available, they were not a good thing in his eyes. If they could bring convenience to himself, it wouldn't hurt to give them. 10 minutes later, indeed, among the crowd below, there were 6 people pacing the sky. 3 of them were all able to lift their feet, but this was also the completion of Xiao Yang's requirements. Naturally, they got the reward promised by Xiao Yang. After an hour, on the premise that Xiao Yang deliberately released water, there were only more than 30 people in the whole Fengcheng who were included in Xiao Yang's queue. Although the number was small, Xiao Yang was also very satisfied with it. The essence of soldiers was not much. Xiao Yang needed real strength, not a group of scattered soldiers. The 31 high-level fighting emperors, together with Liu Jin, are 34 high-level fighting emperors. These 3 guys are very careful. One of the powerful fighting emperors behind him is unwilling to join in. He also said that he was saving strength for Xiao Men to avoid being attacked from the back and the back. For this, Xiao Yang had to sneer in his heart and smile in his mouth. He led a group of people to a city in the northern wilderness where there was a transmission array to the western regions. Along the way, the vast team attracted many people's attention. When they recognized the leading young man in black robes, they were shocked one after another. Some sect leaders even came to contact them. They seemed to be afraid that these people came to attack them, and even some of them had a strong temperament. Even more, he released the Zhongmen array to Xiao Yang from a distance. Until Xiao Yang and others disappeared out of sight, the Zhongmen was frightened and relieved. A few days later, this group of people came to a city called Wucheng. The vast crowd inevitably caused a sensation again. It was not until this group of people stood quietly in the huge square in the city and were surrounded by the array that the people in the city realized that this group of people came only to transmit the array. Standing on the transmission array, with a burst of golden light shining, a large group of people who frightened everyone in the city a moment ago, then disappeared into the array. Just a moment later, on another huge square in the western regions, the golden light was shining, and a large group of people suddenly appeared in the city. Before the crowd, Xiao Yang looked up at the sky above his head, and his eyes gradually filled with a sharp color. The western regions, the leaves fall into the sky, I'm back. Although the number of the team of more than 30 people is not large, the mighty momentum shocked everyone in the city at the moment it appeared. All the people who saw it were shocked by the sudden huge power. When looking at the Xiaomen group, they paid no attention to the eyes of others. Under the leadership of Xiao Yang, the party went straight south. Through the map, Xiao Yang clearly knew that he and others were in the northernmost part of the Shalin domain, and the due south was facing Qingtuo Mountain. Now I'm afraid that the former residence of the 4 major gates has completely fallen into Yi Luotian's hands, and the forces of the 4 major gates are expected to be fully accepted by the latter. The 4 major gates are integrated into one. Even if the prosperity of Zongnei is no longer the past, its inside power is definitely several times more than in the past. Where are we going now? On a mountain peak, Xiao Yixin glanced at the map in Xiao Yang's hand and asked curiously. On one side, Seer's eyes also looked over. A crowd behind him looked at the world board. It is said that the western region is a desolate place, but it seems that it is quite different from the legend. Hehe, I've heard that the western regions are divided into Shilin region and Shihuang region. It seems that our current position should be in Shilin region. Fang Tonghue's eyes flashed and explained with a smile. Yes, next, we'll go here. Xiao Yang smiled, and a cold light flashed in his eyes. He stretched out his finger and pointed to a coordinate on the map, which was Qingtuo Mountain. Then with a big hand, he led the people behind him to fly towards the south. Half an hour later, more than 30 people in this line came to Qingtuo Mountain. The so-called Qingtuo Mountain refers not to a mountain, but to a vast mountain range. In the past, Qingtuo Mountain was jointly divided by the 4 major sects of Shilin domain, each occupying one side. However, since the leader of the 4 major sects fell in the Tianjua ancient tomb, the Withered Leaf sect, one of the 4 major sects, finally revealed his nature and ambition. However, in a short period of half a month, all the people left in the other 3 main gates were brought under his command. The so-called obedient ones prospered and the rebellious ones died. In order to fully control the 4 main gates, Yi Luotian killed many people in the following time. Countless people were killed because of rebelling against Yi Luotian, including many who fought against the emperor and the strong. It was for this reason that soon, the rebellion in Zongnei was quickly suppressed by his bloody means, and the remaining people were also terrified. In the later time, no one dared to oppose it, and no one refuted Yi Luotian's words. Today's Qingtuo Mountain has changed greatly under the non-human control of leaves falling from the sky. The whole mountain range has built large and small pavilions and buildings, and the signs of Withered Leaves sect are everywhere. Even after a few years, the smell of killing is still very dignified here. A thin layer of blood mist can even be seen in the sky, which is conceivable. How many people did Yi Luotian kill in order to control here a few years ago? When they came to Qingtuo Mountain, Xiao Yang and his party didn't have much nonsense. They killed several senior elders of Kuye sect in the shortest time by the strongest means. The rest were dismissed by Xiao Yang. Finally, only one senior elder of Kuye sect was brought to Xiao Yang. Seeing the old man in yellow robe, Xiao Yang has no pity in his eyes. Although the person in front of him looks a little pitiful at the moment, just a few minutes ago, Xiao Yang saw this guy killing wantonly with a ruthless attitude. The expression on his face is very happy. For this kind of person, it is against heaven's peace not to kill him. Why pity? Facing Xiao Yang and his party, after seeing their strength again, the old man in yellow robe finally showed a look of panic on his face. His body trembled and knelt in front of Xiao Yang, constantly kowtowing. There was nothing like the previous majesty. This elder, I have never lived with my elder. I wonder if you can let me go for the sake of my old age. I will be very grateful. The old man opened his mouth in a flustered tone, and his words were full of panic. When he spoke, his body was shaking and sweating like rain. Even if Xiao Yang didn't use any means, he still scared his face blue. I want to know the development of Withered Leaf sect in recent years and the current position of Yi Luotian. Xiao Yang is expressionless. Although it's good to destroy the current residents of Withered Leaf sect, from the surface alone, Qingtuo Mountain is not the real residence of Yi Luotian. Otherwise, he won't just shoot a few ordinary fighting emperors stationed here. Moreover, all resources in Qingtuo Mountain have been emptied by Yi Luotian. Now Qingtuo Mountain is like an empty mountain. It has long been a trend of empty buildings. As soon as Xiao Yang mentioned Yi Luotian, the look on the old man's face suddenly changed, and there was no time to think too much. Xiao Yang's terrible momentum suddenly fell on the old man's head. The terrible momentum immediately pressed him out of breath, and his blue face became purple, with bones and internal organs in his body. Under the pressure of Xiao Yang's momentum, he was severely crushed. His fighting spirit ran around uncontrollably, and the whole body changed a color in an instant. It was not until a long time later, when the old man in yellow robe was about to explode, that he nodded in fear. At the same time, the momentum and pressure that came over his head suddenly dispersed. Then, the old man in yellow robe was filled with horror and told the current situation of Yi Luotian. When these news came into Xiao Yang's ears one by one, the look on the latter's face gradually became gloomy. Finally, There was a strong murderous intention emerging on his face. Even the breath in his body was also involuntarily violent. Bang! Just as the words in the mouth of the old man in yellow robe fell, Xiao Yan slapped his back on the latter's head angrily, and the old man's body burst into a blood mist all over the sky with a bang, and the look on the faces of the people behind him suddenly became shocked. It's hard to imagine that Xiao Yan, who has always been extremely calm among them, the old man in yellow robe suddenly changed his face because of his words. Even his state of mind was no longer stable. Go to the Shilin Mountains. This video will end here.